That's Disney.
I'll call you in when
Okay, I was just stand on the way.
Right there, you go. You don't want the line, right? This?
Whatever you think. If I need it? All right, I'm ready when you are.
It should be live.
Okay. You see it? All right, we're live. Woohoo! Let Colin know. I think we do need the light. We do need the light. So, hey, it's Jordan. I am here in the public square. The public square in the Luzerne County, which is in the northeastern part of Pennsylvania. We have quite a lot going on here on election night, unless something's changed since 5 minutes ago. Trump is kind of on the verge of winning Florida. If he wins, Trump needs to win Florida to have any chance. So if Trump wins Florida, he's still kind of in the game. Ohio right now, Joe Biden is leading, which was kind of unexpected. Last I looked, Biden was up by 10 points in Ohio with about 50% of the precincts, 50% of the state reporting. Pennsylvania is very early, but Biden is winning by a lot in Pennsylvania. We don't know how much of that is day of versus mail-in ballots. And Donald Trump took the lead. Biden was kind of winning in Georgia for a little bit, but Trump is taking a lead in Georgia. Texas is interesting. I haven't looked at it in the last 10 minutes, but Biden was leading in Texas. All of these things are subject to change because obviously you have a mixture of mail-in ballots being counted as well as day of ballots being counted. But for Trump, if you're his campaign, you're happy because Florida's a must-win. And when you look at the map, obviously Trump needs to win Georgia and Texas. If he loses Georgia or Texas, he's totally screwed. However, if he wins Georgia, if he wins Texas, if he wins Florida, which it looks like he's about to win Florida, then you start looking at North Carolina, which last I checked, it was close, and Pennsylvania. So we're in Pennsylvania. Luzerne County is one of the 3 counties in Pennsylvania in 2016 that switched from Obama to Trump. It went from Obama won this county by 5 percentage points in 2012. It went all the way the other way. In 2016, Trump won it by almost 20 percentage points. We were at a polling place earlier. There's been a lot of pretty steady source of traffic here in Luzerne County. Most of the Republican voters across the country seem to be voting on day of the election rather than mail-in. So we'll see what happens. But I have a former burner. I wanted to start with a kindred spirit.
Yeah.
So you're from around here, or a transplant. You moved. You were a delegate for Bernie from here.
Yeah, I was the one Bernie delegate that got elected here. One of our 6 on the slate.
Who'd you have to muscle for that? Not easy around here to get elected, huh?
Well, I ran for city council here before, and I know people who supported Biden all the way around. Okay. So they voted for Biden, but still checked me. So. Okay.
Oh, by the way, I forgot. Smash that like button. Press the like button. I know there's a lot of live streams. I don't know if I can compete with Joe Rogan, but let's get this audience as high as we can get it. So share, subscribe, all of that. So before we get to tonight, kind of bittersweet. Yeah. We were like 10 days away from Bernie possibly clinching the nomination. Now we have this race to the bottom. Yeah. I personally voted for Biden. I'm not telling people how they should have voted, but that's what I did. But I was kind of saying in the car, I mean, I could have egg in my face. Maybe Biden will win by a landslide. But as of now, I'm thinking, like, why is it even this close?
Yeah.
If we were fed this steady diet of he's the safest, he's the most electable, you would think like 230,000 people dead. God knows how many more. He should be crushing Trump in Florida and elsewhere. Why do you think it's even this close?
I mean, I think a lot of it is lesser two evils isn't a strong pitch, and lack of enthusiasm is a real serious issue. And I know, like, around here, all the Democrat events were all, like, invite only. and only like small events, whereas the Trump people were having their huge rallies. And obviously that's not the smart thing COVID-wise, but it's really bad for enthusiasm on our side.
Right. You know, it's interesting because I was at a polling place by Mountaintop, and you know, not a lot of people wanted to talk, but I interviewed somebody who I'm pretty sure she was on the payroll for Biden. she looked like she was talking points, not like a regular person. And all right, she gave the talking points like jobs, 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 and all this. So I asked her like one follow-up. I was like, so how is he specifically going to bring back the jobs, or, you know, strengthen unions? And it's like everything discombobulated a little bit, like, you know. And obviously you get that with Trump people. Like yesterday, I challenged them. They didn't know. When you challenge them, they go to like Hunter Biden, and you know. But it stands to reason that this campaign was not about a lot of substance or policy. It was just more about, you know, moralistic things. Let's throw him off, which sucks because if Biden wins, I mean, we're in a crisis, and I haven't
do something.
I haven't particularly heard like what's his stimulus plan, what's his plan to stave off the eviction crisis coming, all those things.
Yeah, I think, honestly, a lot of it is what do I think they're going to do. I mean, I think you can probably look at, like, the CARES Act and stuff to give you an idea of what they're going to do. But, yeah, I mean, the biggest thing for me is my girlfriend here, she works at the hospital, and so she has to deal with COVID patients all the time. So just the basics of, like, wear a mask will actually matter. Because I remember the whole time in this area with so many Trump people, we've had all the videos of the person who runs into the local grocery store without a mask on. Like, literally the grocery store I go to, there were multiple people who got lifetime bans because they kept running in without a mask on. So, like, there's a lot of policy things he should do, but just the very least of not publicly denying it will be really helpful.
By the way, I don't know if you know this, but yesterday they had the highest case count in Pennsylvania since, I think, March or April. I think it was 2,800 cases or something like that. It's exploding everywhere. And honestly, you know, I had COVID in April, so I'm hoping I have some antibodies that last. But this event yesterday was like this dystopian horror film.
Yeah.
You got 10,000 people out for Trump. Maybe 1 out of 10 were wearing masks.
Yeah.
They're packed. And on top of being packed outside, then you have this row of buses that they're going to pack them in buses.
In and out. Yep.
And it's like, I was asking, I thought very respectfully, like, why is this tyranny a piece of cloth? And one guy, I don't know, maybe in his 20s, early 30s, says it's just annoying. I said, is it more annoying than death? I mean, I don't get it, but it really is like Biden has been so lucky because all he's had to do is put on a mask, talk responsibly, say I'll listen to the scientists, and do nothing more.
Yeah.
And he might win.
Yeah, like my barbershop that I go to, they made the paper in 2016 because one of the barbers said he voted for Trump. But everyone there, like, in there normally they don't talk about politics, people, but they're just like, we're all voting for Biden. Like, their business is in so much trouble from the lockdowns and everything. They're like, he was such an idiot publicly on COVID that we're all voting for Biden. Right. So I think a lot of people are just, like, I, going into this election, was very scared before COVID happened. And I think, like, Democrats are lucky that COVID happened and that we're going to win because of it.
Right, because I think without COVID, if this was like Marco Rubio versus Biden, Marco Rubio would be winning. If it was Mitt Romney, Nikki Haley, I think just about any country club, cardboard cutout Republican would be beating Biden. I mean, let's not even get into what Biden said this morning. I tweeted it was very controversial. He confused his granddaughter with his dead son, but I digress.
I was knocking all day, so I didn't even get to see it yet.
You don't want to watch this. Apparently, people are explaining to me it's normal to confuse your deceased son with your living granddaughter, but I digress. So where does the I know it's a heavy question, but where does progressives go from here? Because, I mean, we don't know, but assuming Biden wins tonight, you know, it's kind of like he's got Lawrence Summers advising him. He's got lobbyists lining up by all the reports. Kamala Harris is, you know, they say she's a progressive. I think we know the answer. And, you know, I think people are kind of kidding themselves that Bernie would be in his cabinet.
Yeah.
Even Warren, who, you know, is not my number one. I don't know. I hear these progressive groups saying, get Trump out and move Biden left. I don't know how you move this man left when he literally has told Wall Street, like, you're good, when the people around him are basically alumni from Obama and Bill Clinton. Are we going to move him left, or is there some kind of pathway now with the economic pain for some type of economic protest?
Yeah, I think also a huge thing is just getting better candidates elected to like the Congress, your state houses and stuff. Like a race I was doing a ton with is we have a public defender running across the river for state rep. So, and she's running against a really bad Republican. So for me, it's about getting better people around him. And like, I have a friend who works for Biden, and I told her like, your one job is to make sure Larry Summers doesn't get near the White House. And she told me she can't guarantee that. So I think like, even if Warren got to be Treasury Secretary, that was when she was running. I was like, I don't want her to run. I want her to be Treasury Secretary. So if that does happen, I would be excited. But I think a lot of it is just going to be, we're going to have to harass all of our senators, our congressmen. Like our progressive group, we do have good relations with Senator Casey, who, I mean, he's not like a wild progressive, but he picks up the phone when we call. So we think that we can get him to be a little better. And even he got elected more as like a blue dog, and every year he's better than the year he was before. So I think there's a lot of just the public pressure makes them shift.
I am so much less optimistic than you are. Maybe I'm a cynical Susie. I think these Wall Street creatures are popping the champagne.
Yeah.
This guy is pretending to be some lunch bucket, middle-class guy. He's not. He's been lining his pockets with Wall Street money. He's literally, it's funny, somebody said to me today, oh, him and unions. I'm like, what? He's been taking all this money from union-busting companies. I could go on. I don't want to, pop the, I don't want to ruin the wine mom's night. I mean, I voted for him. And I know a lot of people don't like that, but I just felt, hey, you vote for whoever you want, but I think Trump is, once I saw Trump taking joyrides around Walter Reed with COVID, I mean, that's not a sociopath. That's a psychopath. Walking up the stairs with COVID into the White House, taking off the mask. Like, you can't create a James Bond villain. And honestly, I don't think he's joking. I don't think Trump is joking that he wants to serve more than 2 terms. And he's got a 6-3 Supreme Court to do it. So, I don't know.
Yeah.
All right. So, nothing's changed since I've been live, I think. But if Trump wins Florida,
Yes.
If he keeps Georgia and Texas, then for him it comes down to North Carolina and Pennsylvania.
Yep.
Obviously, you're not all over Pennsylvania, but have you seen any indicators other than the polls to think that this is going back to the blue column, Pennsylvania?
So the good thing that I've seen is a lot of what we were doing the last 3 days is we were knocking people who either voted in 18 and didn't vote in 16, or are brand new registrants, and people who haven't voted in a long time. I knocked them 2 days ago and they said, oh yeah, I already voted. Okay. A bunch of people who haven't voted or skip elections all the time, they all said they were voting. Okay. And so if turnout's up, that's always good for us. Mm-hmm. And even in Florida where it looks like Biden's going to lose, it did look like turnout was still up. And so we might lose Florida, but if turnout is up everywhere, I think the Democrats will win. Because that's normally how it works. The higher turnout is, the higher chance the Democrats have of winning.
And the reality also is, I mean, Trump or Biden, this area has been destroyed economically. Yeah. I mean, Pennsylvania, northeastern, other parts of Pennsylvania are just ground zero for deindustrialization. Yeah. The steel being offshored, other industries. Trump came with that, phony populist rhetoric. And it's funny because I asked several of the Trump supporters, where's those manufacturing plants? Because I've driven through a lot of these communities. I don't see them coming back. And they say, yeah, they're coming. It takes a while.
Coming, yeah.
But on the flip side, is Biden really, I mean, how do you do it? How do you really bring back manufacturing or anything if there's no penalties to these companies that continue to offshore jobs? You go in, you see the machines taking over in CVS at the movies when the movies were open still. Yeah. Whether it's Trump or Biden, how do you really bring full-time jobs with good pay, benefits back if we have corporations basically running shop?
Yeah, I mean, that interests me about Biden because there were times in the campaign where he started doing the at least in terms of COVID stuff, he's like, we're going to start making masks in America again and stuff. So, while it is wild to you and me, who knows he has a bad history with unions, a lot of unions, like, that's a core of his support. So I wonder if their ability to pressure him is there, that he'll actually do some of that stuff. And, like, especially around here, I know that's huge. Like, I used to always joke that the Bernie to Trump people weren't real until I lived here and canvassed. They're here. Here they exist.
Bernie voters that switched to Trump.
Trump in 2016.
Okay.
Yeah. Because they were all just like, I want someone who opposes NAFTA. I want someone who opposes TPP. And, like, people just rant about all the factories closing. And those were the only two options to them.
Right.
So.
Can I get your partner in here? So you're treating COVID patients, I hear?
Mental health COVID patients, yeah. Very far and few between. Our hospital just started testing them with the Sophia test before we go down and see them, and trying to take
What's the Sophia test?
The Sophia test is a quick nasal swab, not as accurate as like the 30-minute results, but I mean, at least we're taking precaution before we go down and see them.
I can tell you, I mean, obviously death is worse, but the mental health aspect of this is just, I mean, I'm not like dying, but when I was holed up in an apartment before my wife and I moved, I was down, depressed. She was having anxiety. I talked to a lot of people who are just like lost mentally. And honestly, I think we live in the United Corporations of America. I think even when situation gets better, I think these companies are not going to hire back a lot of these workers and just do more with less. So the mental health aspect is significant.
Absolutely, especially in this area. Not only that, with COVID related that we're seeing, we're also seeing political and financial, and it's not just coming from one sort.
So you mean we're not rounding the corner, like Trump said?
I don't think so. No, and it's tough. It's definitely tough, especially working with people that are very pro-Trump. And
have you heard anything from Biden? Is there like any meat on the bone as far as what he would do with COVID? Because I envision, all right, he'll get in, he'll wear a mask, maybe some type of mask mandate, which Republicans are now treating like guns. So don't tread on me. But in terms of like stimulus, there's no talks of any UBI for people. There's no talks of Medicare. I mean, he literally during the debate said, you have a human right to affordable health care. Yeah. Something can't be a human right if you have to pay for it. So it seems to me with Trump, it's just that quick shot in the head. With Biden, unless he comes and sees Jesus, it's like a slower death, I guess. Like, do you hear anything from him on COVID, relief, those kind of things?
A little bit back and forth. I think I would side more with Biden just because he believes science is real. Like, Trump literally said, I think I might fire Fauci, just give us a little bit. And like, that doesn't sit well with me. Right. Working in a hospital and, you're getting a science degree. Right. It's like a slap in the face to everybody that's worked so hard to do what they do.
And you work in a hospital, so what do you, like, are you cringing when you see this 10,000 people super spreader that I was at yesterday? Because I can't believe it. It's one thing that they're all packed like that without masks, but on top of that, they got rows of buses that they're putting them in. So it's just like you couldn't create a situation to spread this thing more.
It sets my anxiety and depression through the roof. Actually, when I was voting today in line, there was somebody right up behind me, and I had to ask her like numerous times, like, I was in scrubs. I had my N95. I'm in scrubs. I'm not somebody that you want to get close to right now. Like, I came off a COVID unit, like obviously in PPE, but like out of my respect to you, I don't want to give you the chance of getting it. And likewise, I mean, we're very torn on that. And I see a lot of people like that don't believe in it, and they're like, oh, let's just hang out in large groups. And you gotta weigh the pros and cons on it. And of course, it comes down to if you want to stay safe, you'll figure out a way to stay safe. And you can't really, I don't know the right word to say, like, you can't get hung up on people that are.
But if we lived in a civilized country that first priority was its citizens, maybe we'd be like Europe and just say, well, we print money for war, we print money for everything. Why don't we just cover the payrolls? Because that's what Europe's doing. We don't need to put all these people on unemployment. People could stay home, work remotely if you can. I mean, people don't like the lockdowns, things like that. But you want to know something? If we would have done it in March and April, we would not have, I think it was 81,000 cases the other day, that nationally. I mean, it's totally insane.
It's backwards. It's absolutely backwards. Like, especially you have these big corporations. Like, you work from home,
Yeah.
and now he's going back into the office like weekly. Like, you goes in 1 week, comes back 1 week. I understand. Like, you're gonna have hospitals, places 24/7 that can't shut down, and you need people. But take the measurable precautions. Wear the mask. Wear PPE. Like, that is available. And if you can work from home to keep the numbers down, I guess it's just don't be selfish at this point, you know, because that's a very selfish move if you're going out without a mask and risking that.
And lastly, your guy here was a little bit more optimistic than I. Thinks we could maybe move Biden, kumbaya. I think that's a fool's errand. What do you think? Because this man, his idea of moving was lowering Medicare to 60. He picked Kamala Harris, who, I don't know, there's not a lot there. I'm all for, like, great historic history if she becomes the first female vice president, woman of color, but, policy-wise, nothing there. So how does the progressive movement, people are tired, people are burnt out, and, the Biden people want to go back to brunch. We keep hearing back to brunch. How do you put the fear of God in him and the others that they actually have to move left if they didn't do any of that during the primary or the general and they won?
Oh.
I know, it's a toughie.
Yeah, that's a doozy. And, like, all I could think of is just, I mean, I see it from my parents. Like, they're on the Trump train. My whole family's on the Trump train. And
My parents do.
And it's disheartening, especially working in mental health and working in a hospital. And, like, I want to see, like, some sort of change, not somebody mocking my job and, calling veterans, like, what was the word that he used? Losers, something like that. Like, to me, like, it just shows no morals. And Biden, not the best. It actually pains me to say that I voted for him, but I would rather vote for Biden with some chance of hope than vote for Trump with 4 more years of mockery.
I got to be honest with you because I've been yelling at some viewers. I don't understand this voter shaming. I really don't understand it. I mean, listen, I don't like particularly online media people that are like, you need to vote for Biden, you need to do this. Shut up. Do whatever you want. But it's not like this thing where, like, if you decide to vote for Biden, you're a sellout, you're this, you're that. That's why progressives are in the minority. Because this insane purity. Listen, Trump is psychotic. I mean, he is. And I don't think Biden's great. I think he's a warmonger. I think he's corrupt. But to me, it's not even lesser of two evils. It's like, if you're going to have a progressive movement, you need to have a stable country. And with Trump, I don't think he's kidding. I don't think he's kidding about serving more than 2 terms. And look at what he's been doing with re-election in mind. If he doesn't have to think about re-election, I mean, the guy has delusions of grandeur. At the very least, with Biden, it would be your typical corporate Democratic establishment. I'd personally rather fight that than QAnon and Proud Boys and this and that. So I just don't understand these people that are like, you're a sellout, you're a this. And I also think it's kind of a little naive because I think there's some people on the left who are like, no, withhold your vote for the Democratic Party. That way they can't take progressives for granted anymore and they'll move to the left. It's like, okay, they lost to an orange fascist in 2016 and they moved to the right. Yeah. You think if they lose to them again, they're suddenly going to... I mean, that's just not going to happen because that would indicate their first priority is winning, which I'm not convinced of.
Yeah, and the thing I think about is, like you said, like, we need a Democrat to have a better candidate in the office because, like, 2004, Bush is incumbent and everyone panics and they vote for Kerry. 2020, there's a Republican in office, so they all panic and vote for Biden. Like, if you look at all the polls, like, everyone agreed with Bernie and liked Bernie was the most popular, but they just thought Biden.
I don't want to interrupt you, but a Fox News poll? Jen, was that a Fox News poll that came out tonight? That, like, 70% or something? Yeah, 70% were for, like, they called it a government-run healthcare system?
Yeah.
A Fox News poll, 70%. So, hello? Yeah. I mean, on the policy, the majority of the country.
Democratic primary voters, when there's a Republican incumbent, they panic and they vote for what they think is the safe option.
Well, because they have, I mean, hundreds of millions of dollars of corporate media. I mean, literally, if Biden were the most electable, this would be called. It would be called already. It wouldn't even be close in Florida, in any state. Honestly, I think if Bernie were running, we would be home smoking a joint because it would not be close in Pennsylvania, Michigan, and Wisconsin. That I can tell you. I could have egg on my face. In an hour, it could be called with a landslide. But as of right now, that's not the case. So, yeah.
Yeah, and I just think, like, if you don't want Kamala to be the next nominee, then you want her to be vice president and someone better to run against her. Right. So people can be like, well, even if we don't vote for Kamala, there's an incumbent, there's not the scary person we have to vote against. Right. Exactly. So I think it gives a progressive a chance to actually be the next nominee.
Great. And quickly, what's your group about? Voters Decide?
We're with Action Together, which is a local progressive organization. Voter Decide is a national campaign just to make sure they count every vote, especially in Pennsylvania because vote by mail is going to be such a huge part of it. I mean, I voted by mail. And with all the constant court cases where we're not sure what deadline they're counting before, what deadline they're counting after, if you mailed it before the 3rd, but it gets here on the 4th, will it count? Like, we're just making sure that they count all the votes because we're concerned that in-person votes, Trump wins. But if you count it all, Biden wins. Right. And we're especially concerned with, like, there was that recent court case where Kavanaugh said, like, we don't want mail-in votes to flip the election. But mail-in votes are part of the election.
Well, it's actually interesting that you brought that because if you've been paying attention, the Pennsylvania Republican Party complained. They didn't want a 3-day extension after Election Day to count the mail-in ballots. The Supreme Court basically decided not to decide. They just said we're not going to decide on this now. But I think it was Kavanaugh or one of them said this could be reviewed after the election. So if it's close here,
and now Amy Coney Barrett is there. I think what it was what's his name? The Chief Justice sided with the liberals, so it was a tie. But now there's Amy Coney Barrett on there, and I think it was Gorsuch and Kavanaugh who both were saying, like, we definitely don't want mail-in votes to flip it as if mail-in votes aren't votes.
Well, I haven't heard this talked about on CNN, but Coney Barrett, Gorsuch, and John Roberts. Oh, sorry. I get confused with degenerates. Kavanaugh, Roberts, and Amy Coney Barrett were on Bush's 2000 recount team, which stole the election from Gore. So, hey, we'll see. Biden was winning by a lot in Pennsylvania, but that was only like 4%. It's going to get a lot closer, so we'll see. So I guess we wait and see. As far as I know, let me check Florida for a second. Oh, we're up against Joe Rogan. That's never good.
You got to invite Alex Jones.
Yeah, I don't think Alex Jones is on tonight.
Oh, I thought it was him and Kyle Kalinske or something.
I didn't see it.
Oh, okay.
All right. So with 93% reporting, yeah, Trump's going to win Florida. So Trump is up by 3 in Florida. Georgia, I'd be shocked if Biden won Georgia. Texas, I would be shocked. So then it comes down to it really, you got to look at North Carolina then for Trump and Pennsylvania. Biden, I think, will win Michigan and Wisconsin. He was winning Ohio, so let me look at that right now. Biden is up by 4 in Ohio with 58%. So Trump is closing the gap in Ohio, but Biden's up by 4. If Biden wins Ohio, Trump's screwed. He needs to win. Trump is up by 16 in Georgia, so that's over. I don't see Texas, and Biden is now up by 2 in North Carolina, so it's closer in North Carolina. So again, if Trump wins Florida, if he wins North Carolina, if he keeps Georgia and Texas, and if he wins Pennsylvania, then he does have a pathway. We're going to have a lot of crying neoliberals tonight. So.
Well, in the next week. I know our county said they won't count all the mail-in ballots till Friday at the earliest. Yeah. So,
absolutely. What's your name?
Mark Schaefer.
Mark?
Cecilia.
Thank you guys. I really appreciate it. Absolutely. Yeah. All right, folks. Keep smashing that like button. We have a lower audience because every channel and their mother are live right now. But we're totally cool with the intimate gathering. 315 people watching, so smash that like button. Share this live stream. It's election night, so I know you're feeling super. Let us know in the super chat. I want to show you this over here because that is really something. It is a bit of a flaming sculpture. I guess it's a fire and ice theme because it was just fire and now it's kind of ice. Am I getting that right?
I think it's like.
We could speak to the artist.
Hold on.
It was fire and now
I
it's
think it's a climate change thing.
climate. Why do you have to blow up my spot? I'm sticking with fire and ice. So,
Game of Thrones.
oh, okay. They have MSNBC. They have MSNBC on, which is really irritating me. So that's a sculpture, and this was billed as the Democratic Party of Luzerne County's shindig. I guess you could tell the strength of the Democratic Party in Luzerne County by this vibrant get together, but that's okay. We'll talk to some other folks in a few minutes, but I would love to know how you guys feeling, so let me know in the super chat. I don't want to freak anyone out because Biden very well might win this whole thing. But when I look at the numbers, let me go back. Florida was an absolute must for Trump if he's going to win re-election. And he's about to win Florida. He's up by 3. Then North Carolina. Trump definitely needs to win North Carolina. But Biden is right now up by 2 in North Carolina with 79%. 79% of the votes there. So Biden could win North Carolina. Right now he's on the path to win North Carolina. If Biden wins North Carolina, it's a lot harder for Trump to win the election because Trump really needs to keep as many of the states that he won in 2016 in 2020. So we'll keep an eye on North Carolina. Ohio is interesting because Ohio, we weren't thinking Biden had a chance. He's up by 4, 60% of the people, 60% of the precincts reporting. And right now with 20% in the great state of Pennsylvania, Biden's crushing Trump by over 200,000 votes, 62 to 36. I'm pretty confident that's going to narrow. I don't know for a fact, but I do think a large bucket of that probably is coming from Pittsburgh and Philadelphia, which are the 2 Democratic Party strongholds. So once they fill in the red in this state, I think that's going to narrow. But if Biden wins Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, and Michigan, he's got a very, very good shot to win the whole thing. If Trump wins Florida, North Carolina, and Pennsylvania, he's got a very good shot. Do you know who the artist is? Oh, can I chat with you about your sculpture? Yeah. I was thinking it was fire and ice, but you'll have to tell me. Okay. Sure. Chew it out. Yeah.
I've been working on this for 4 years.
4 years.
Yeah, it's called Reckoning. Yeah, since he got elected. An installation on political power, greed, and the climate emergency. And I've been showing it in New York City. We were going to have an exhibition on Earth Day in New York, and of course that was canceled. So we decided, why not just take it outside and put it in nature? And it's all nature imagery, so it really works. I never imagined it to be outside, but it really works outside. And you'll watch, it has a story to tell. We start with gentle nature, and yet it's haunted by those faces, right? I mean, and it's also like, to me, it's literally about man versus nature. I mean, Trump's like a symbol for human denial, or hubris in the face of climate change. And so, anyway, and then we start off with gentle nature, and then it's haunted, and then gradually moves into more evidence of, global climate change and the effects of it.
So I assume when it turns like red and orange, that's kind of like the inferno, the fire.
California wildfires from last year, not this year. This is all actual footage, you know, of what's going on. And yeah, so that's sort of what it's about.
Now, I am totally a novice on art or sculpture. So what is this made of? Like, how does that even get created?
Okay, that's an interesting question. So I'm a sculptor. Okay. So I started off in the night Donald Trump got elected was just like the worst night for me.
Are you from this area?
I'm from New York, but I was here campaigning for Hillary Clinton and for Barack Obama too. So we come here to, you know, because it's battleground state. So this is where we canvassed all day today, yesterday, day before. You know, I did my part. But anyway, that night was terrible for me. Couldn't sleep. I was like, what am I going to do? So I went to my clay, which is great for emotion. Because, you know, I put all that emotion about the wrong I felt about this election in that face. And I reproduced it in, I did a plaster mold and then reproduced it in clay. And I did a bunch of them that are glazed in odd glazes. And then I decided to cast it in paper mache. And in doing that, I got a plastic mold that was so interesting. I decided, wow, let's make a wall of these. This is really cool. These, and white plastic's like the perfect medium for Donald Trump, right? White and nothing sticks to it. So anyway, did that, and then somebody saw that in my studio and they said, have you ever made a video? Why don't you play a video on that? And so it's been a whole journey of doing video, and I worked with an editor and a sound. The sound we worked on for like 2 years. I mean, it's really good sound. We worked on the transitions. So yeah, it's been a lot of work, but it's been very rewarding, you know. And hopefully,
when you see, you started this as the wildfires were starting like years ago. So when you see now, between the wildfires that are still raging, the unprecedented hurricanes, I mean, the UN 2 years ago said 12 years. I think that's radically less now. What do you think? Because honestly,
I think we're going downhill fast. And if he gets elected again, we're doomed. I really feel we're doomed. I mean,
I will say
we're doomed, but a lot of people will die.
So what do you think? Because during the debate, I was kind of dismayed, if you're a climate activist, that Biden was kind of pushing, no, we're for fracking. I mean, fracking is really contributing to this.
Yeah, exactly. So you have to, you know, take the best, whatever you've got, choice. I totally believe in the Green New Deal, and he sort of sold that out. So that is a bit upsetting about him. But, you know, of course he's better than Trump, who's just egregious on the whole thing. I mean, has canceled at least 100 regulations, if not more. And they've got a whole list to go yet. I mean, they're fighting these things in the courts, but if he wins again,
I don't know the number, but he's at least doubled the fracking. And Obama already doubled down on fracking while he was president. Trump is, I mean, between Dakota Access, Keystone that he's kept on pushing, he's actually trying to drill on Native American reservations. That doesn't get a lot of attention. So I agree, environmentally, it's a disaster. Another 4 years.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. I'm frightened to think about it. I hope, you know, I haven't been paying attention, but oh my God.
Well, it does look like he's about to lose Florida, Biden. Trump's going to win Florida. Pennsylvania, Biden's winning significantly right now.
Have they called Georgia yet?
Not yet, but Trump's up by a lot. So if Trump, I don't want to trigger you, but if Trump's going to win Florida, if he keeps Georgia and Texas, it comes down to, for Trump, North Carolina and Pennsylvania then. If he keeps Pennsylvania and North Carolina, he could win the election. But Biden's up in North Carolina right now.
He's not going to win Pennsylvania.
We'll see. Right now, Biden's winning by a lot in Pennsylvania, but you got the mail-in ballots and all that.
I haven't even counted the mail-in ballots.
No, I'm saying Biden right now is significantly up.
Oh, I didn't understand you. Okay, great. So,
All right. I'll have to talk to you later.
thank you. What's your name?
Jordan.
Jordan.
Yeah, with Status Quo. Yes.
cool.
I look forward to you making one of Bernie very soon.
Oh, thank Thanks so much. Well, this is going to have legs if he gets elected.
There you go.
So
No,
hard.
I tell you, there's going to be a very wealthy person on Park Avenue that wants this if Biden gets elected. We'll see.
Well, I wanted to go do more. I wanted to do about the immigration and the sexism and what else? The racism, of course.
Yeah.
But we decided just to do climate change to simplify it a bit, and also because it looks so cool.
Yeah.
On
I don't think people can hear it, but the noises, like you have like some subtle music or soundtracks going with it.
Nature sounds. Yeah. It's all nature sounds from the scene. There's nothing but nature sounds. And it's very sculpture. If you go and look at the side and even the back of it, it's very interesting, the back. And I didn't know until I put it up in like a public space. And somebody said, go look at the back. Oh my God, it's like the dark side. It's like these ghoulish, it has fangs and stuff. I said, how did that happen? I didn't plan that. It's really wild. So, yeah.
People want to check out the rest of your work. What's your name? How do they find it?
Michael Stewart Artworks.
Michael Stewart Artwork?
Yes, on Instagram. And also michaelstewartstudio.com. Okay. Yeah, and let me give you one.
Absolutely. It is very tranquil, I will say. Thank you. Reckoning.
And then it isn't soothing. Yes. It's soothing and disturbing. I like art that has, hits on a lot of levels. Right. And different, yeah, you don't know what to think, right? So it makes you think.
I like it a lot. Thank you.
So much.
Awesome.
Nice to meet you.
What's that?
I'm just showing it closer.
Any updates?
Awesome. I have some super chat updates.
Damn you, Joe Rogan and Kyle Kalinske. Damn you, Crystal Ball and the Hill. No, I'm kidding. We are up against a lot of live streams right now. I got to say, this is not the most enthusiastic Democratic Party's foray I've ever been to.
Well, that's okay. People are just watching the results come in. There's nothing really to be enthusiastic about yet.
True.
Things are tense, and
True.
then people are anxious.
Well, I figured the whole town would come knowing we're here, but you never know.
Exactly. Well, you did have a fan come up and recognize you, so that was cool before this all started. So, first of all, Mega Arbach said, you guys are the only live stream not just sitting at home. So I had to
Say it louder for the people in the back. We are the only ones actually out there talking to the people, baby.
It's true. Swirly Swirl, $5 as a super chat. Thank you so much. Saying thanks for being in the field. Thank you so much for the super chat. It really helps. I always look at the light and then I can't see the phone. Elijah Amott. Thank you. Sorry for mispronouncing your last name. Thanks for all you and the team are doing, Jordan. Awesome.
And just to give you an update right now, I'm sure you guys have a bunch of tabs open, but right now, first one to 270 wins. Biden has 122 electoral college votes. Trump has 92. So Florida still not decided. Georgia not decided. Texas not decided. North Carolina not decided. Pennsylvania not decided. Michigan not decided. Wisconsin not decided. Ohio not decided. And Florida, Trump's up by 3 points with 93% of the state results in. Biden is up by less than 2 in North Carolina with 80%. Ohio, Biden's up by less than 2 with 62%. Georgia, Trump is up by 16. Michigan, Trump is up by 20? I find that hard to believe. But right now, Michigan, Trump is up by 20. I assume that Trump is up by significantly more, I think, in Michigan because mail-in ballots might take longer. And I assume Detroit and other parts of the state that are heavily Democratic, higher African-American population haven't been called yet. And Biden is up by 3 in Wisconsin. I don't see Texas here. So if somebody has the results for Texas, let us know.
I'm curious what you think about the Times needle.
The Times wants to give me a needle? What?
The Times need the election needle. So they say, Trump is up right now 3 in Florida. So if he wins Florida, that's how likely he is to win overall. And then, so now they've bumped up if he wins North Carolina. Do you think that they're right?
Hold up for a second.
Oh, I know I have 2 more super chats to shout out, so don't worry, I'll shout you out. I screenshotted your super chats. If I miss anyone, I'm so sorry. I'm trying to catch them all screenshotting, but I'm also in the background I don't just stand out there and do nothing. I'm sharing to social media. I'm posting to Instagram. I'm gathering behind the scenes stuff for members and stuff like that. So trying to do it all back there, but I do try to get all the super chats.
I don't understand if they're saying if Trump wins all of these things.
So
It's confusing to me.
that's a good question.
I don't need the Times needle.
No. It's just
I don't need the Times needle. I'll tell you what it means.
It's if he wins one, because if he wins all three, like the percentage.
Bottom line, if Trump wins Florida, if he wins Georgia and Texas, if he wins North Carolina, then it really matters if he wins Pennsylvania. If he wins Texas, Georgia, Florida, North Carolina, and Pennsylvania, Biden has a much less chance of winning the election. Trump has a much greater chance of winning the election because he only needs to win one out of the three in terms of Pennsylvania, Michigan, and Wisconsin. If Trump loses Ohio, he's screwed. But right now, it looks like he's going to win Ohio. Then if Biden wins Arizona, then he has a little bit more maneuverability. But there's other states that are kind of on the fence. Hillary Clinton only won Minnesota by 1 point. And that's kind of could be in play. Nevada, Biden should win Nevada, but it's closer than many people thought. So we'll see. But look at it this way. If Trump lost Florida, Texas, Georgia, or North Carolina, any one of those, his path was very, very limited. But the fact that he's going to win Florida, it looks like he's going to win Georgia and Texas. North Carolina, Biden's up very, very little right now, so Trump could come back. It's still a chance. So, any of you want to chat with us? We don't bite. See how you're feeling on election night? Come on over. How you doing? What's your name?
Corey. I'm Corey, yes.
So, what do you think of it? It's, in an hour, it could be completely over. Biden could win by a landslide. But right now, it's looking close in a lot of these states.
Like I heard you saying before, if he sinks in Ohio, if he don't get it in Ohio, I don't think.
He's in trouble if he loses Ohio, Trump.
I'll do with that. But as far as it goes, I think he's got it. I think yeah.
What do you think in Pennsylvania?
Not by a long shot. He's got it by close. In Pennsylvania, I think he has it. The tri-state areas, he has it.
Because I was at this rally yesterday. There was 10,000 people. He's had a lot of Trump. He's had a lot of big rallies. But you think Biden will hold it because of Philadelphia and other areas?
I think, yeah. Possibly. It's close.
Okay. And what's been going on in Pennsylvania that people should know? Because obviously before the pandemic, Trump kept saying, I'm going to bring jobs back, I don't really see the factories reopened in Pennsylvania. I see the same deindustrialization.
There's a lot of places closing. A lot of people are out of work.
There's a few big corporations and industries being opened, but they were already opened in the process while the pandemic started and all that. But as far as that goes, there's no more jobs. I don't see it.
And the minimum wage needs to be raised. Definitely.
But I think he has it. And I think Trump. Yeah, I think
Biden.
Yeah, Biden. I think he has it there. But he's not gonna. If in Ohio, if he doesn't get that, he's not getting it.
And do you guys have any hope for Biden? Because he's basically been running on, I'm not Trump. There's not a ton of specifics on what he would do.
I think as far as the pandemic and the coronavirus, I think we have a better chance of getting rid of that with Biden rather than Trump. So,
Because he's more responsible, you think?
Yeah. I think Trump is just, hot-headed. He doesn't listen to the doctors,
Well, it's just like crazy to me because I already knew Trump was obviously kind of kooky, but when he left the hospital and took that joyride around Walter Reed while still contagious, when he went up the stairs and took off the mask, it's like...
That was so, irresponsible.
And I think he actually lost a lot of voters that might have actually went to him, but they just saw this and it's just like, you're acting like a maniac.
Yeah, really careless.
There's a lot of
There's
a lot of flukes. with him as, for running the way he is as a, original person himself, he's...
And throughout his whole presidency, there's been a lot of, all his tweets are just like back and forth, like, throwing piss in the wind, basically.
In terms of, like, past the pandemic, most polls say people want Medicare for all. Most polls say people want, more government benefits, those kind of things. Biden has, during the debate, he said something like, you have a human right to affordable health care, which I thought was like, what? Something's not a right if you have to pay for it. Do you think Biden could kind of be moved more to the left? Because progressive groups are saying, let's get rid of Trump, and then we'll push him to the left. Or do you think he's kind of just going to be this in the middle, incremental change kind of guy?
I'm not sure. I think, all the presidents, as far it's been hard to change, as far as the economy and everything. So it's, America as a whole,
Tough when they're all bought off by the corporations.
Yeah, it's all politics, it's, who you know, and basically that's what it comes down to.
I think though,
money.
with the whole thing itself, like you mentioned before, he's unprofessional. I think a lot the way he acts, in public around, us people, itself. I mean, you can't do that. Some of the stuff he comes off with, I don't agree with any of it.
I think
The other day, I don't know if you saw in Texas, his supporters were circling the Biden bus and the Biden campaign had to cancel the rally or whatever they were going to do. Yeah, there was Trump people with trucks and Trump signs that were just like basically trailing the Biden bus, and Trump tweeted like in support of that.
Yeah, that's not right. That's not right at all, because it just gives a mixed message all across everywhere.
Last question: if Biden wins, the genie's kind of out of the bottle. It's not like a lot of these Trump people. Trump's kind of unleashed a lot of white resentment, I would say. Do you think the country kind of comes together? Because I see a lot of these people who see wearing a mask as like the equivalent of taking my gun. And it's like tyranny and all this. Because I kind of think like even if Trump leaves, Trumpism ain't going anywhere anytime soon.
No, not at all. I think even after the election, if he doesn't win, he's still going to be a thorn in everybody's side. Absolutely. He won't go quiet at all,
I think Trump TV is coming to a station near you.
Yeah.
Probably. And what's your guy's name?
Melissa?
I'm Corey.
Thanks, guys.
You're welcome.
Appreciate it. Absolutely. So another fine couple from around here. Listen, I don't really think in covering the primaries as well as the general, I really can only think off the top of my head maybe a couple people that were actually like enthusiastic Biden voters. I don't say that to mock Biden. It's true. This is not an election about people like excited for Joe Biden and his vision and this. This is an election of people that just want to get rid of this guy. And that's sad. When in a country that's the richest country in the world, even though that wealth is only for 1 or 2% of us, when it constantly comes down to just like the lesser of two evils, but even worse than that, just like shooting yourself in the head versus like a slower decay, that's wrong. Like we should have choices that actually give us hope. We should have choices that give us a clear, bold vision for the crises. We had a pandemic before the coronavirus. It's called poverty. It's called the climate crisis. It's called the execution of black people by a militarized police force that frankly is like occupied terrorists. Some of these police departments, New York City, frankly. And we don't have that. We basically have a lot of theater in presidential elections and Senate races where There's not a lot of substance. There's not a lot of talk about policy per se. It's just characters on the ballot, whatever that means. And, Hunter Biden and this stupidity. So I'm not going to lie. I don't have a lot of high hope if Biden wins that he's going to move left. I think that's wildly naive. What I do think is under Obama, progressives kind of went to sleep. And I don't think that's going to happen again. I think if Biden's the president, I think you have a more organized progressive movement between Sunrise Movement, the Fight for Medicare for All, Fight for 15, Black Lives Matter, fill in the gap with many other groups. And I think Biden would not have a honeymoon period from the progressive left. I'm not going to lie to you, I don't think he's going to wake up one morning and be like, I agree with those kiddies and move left. His donors won't let him. But it's better than everybody going back to brunch, everybody going to sleep. I don't think the progressives are going to do that, which is a positive thing. So let me take a look here, give you an update. Who deleted? Come on in.
I don't know what it means. Hey, everyone.
Dems tell me they spent $480,000 in this race.
You're not talking to me.
Dems told me they spent $480,000 in this race. I'm deleting this tweet. What race?
I don't know what he means.
Oh, okay.
So he deleted the tweet. I didn't mean for you to read that to the audience, but sure. Christopher, $4.99 in the super chat. Thanks for doing what you do. Love from Minnesota. Love back to you, Christopher.
Love you in Minnesota. It's cold, but I'm a big fan.
Absolutely. And I think I had one more. Searching. Chris Garrett. I think this is the new Chris Garrett. New Chris Garrett. By the way, we have another viewer and member named Chris Garrett, so we're going to call him OG Chris Garrett and you new Chris Garrett. Props to Jen and Jordan for being on the ground. Sorry, I looked at the light again. In Pennsylvania. This is the newest Chris Garrett to Status Quo. Peace. We're so glad to have you. Thank you so much, new Chris Garrett. And keep the super chats coming. It helps us so much to defray the cost of hotels and gas and food and the live view streaming costs, which is what we're using right now. The Discord chat is bumping. People are helping each other through this crazy election night anxiety that we're all experiencing. statusquo.com/join so you can get the link to that Discord. Discord is essentially like a mix between an old school like chat room or a Slack if you use Slack. So it's a lot of fun. You get to interact with us and other Status Quo members.
Okay, so let me give you an update. And by the way, to the person who said, how many times does Jordan touch his mask? Mask spread germs. I'm touching it so it stays up because it does slip a little below the nose, and I'd rather touch it so it stays up and covers my whole face than it fall down. We're being as careful as we can. If you only saw the cracks in my hand from the amount of hand sanitizer I use, to the point where I have cuts in my hand. So we're being as safe as we can. So I get it. Thanks for your concern, but I'm just picking up the mask so it doesn't fall. Let me give you an update here. Florida still says 93%, so it seems like the votes have kind of stopped for a little bit, but Trump is up by 3, so it looks like he's going to win. Biden's lead in North Carolina keeps going down, so that's good for Trump if you're one of the few in the audience that wants Trump to win. Biden is now up by 1.3 percentage points with 82% reporting, so Trump still has a chance to win North Carolina. Texas, Trump is up by 1.9. Hey, gotta say, I'm not a Biden guy, but the fact that Texas is even competitive is pretty impressive, considering it's Texas. Obviously, when you have more of a moderate/right-wing Democrat like Biden, it's going to be more competitive in Texas. But that would tell you that probably have more Latinos voting, black people, young people in Texas. And you might not be that far away. Could be the next election cycle that Texas could pull for Democrats. But right now, Trump is up by basically 2 points in Texas with 76% reporting. So Trump is now taking back Ohio. Biden is up by 0.3 percentage points. So Trump will take the lead in Ohio, it looks like that. Georgia, Trump's up by 15. Michigan, Trump's up by 20. I definitely would expect that to dramatically lower. If Trump wins Michigan, the Democratic Party's in trouble. If Trump wins Michigan, the Democratic Party's in trouble. And Arizona, obviously, because it's on the West Coast, polls close at 9 p.m. Pacific, so that would be 12 o'clock Eastern. And here in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, Biden's lead has gone down dramatically to 4 with 19%. So, Jen, right, 1 second. So I'm not going to lie, a little frustrated. We're up against the world here. Joe Rogan, The Hill, I'm sure the Young Turks, and every other channel of its life. So we have a smaller audience, but that's okay. It's more intimate. But what's the odds that this all comes down to Pennsylvania, where we happen to be, and we just stay until we gotta, I mean, my wife's not going to like it. She wants me to come home. But what's the odds that this comes down to Pennsylvania if Trump wins Florida, if he wins North Carolina, he's going to win Texas and Georgia, it looks like. Then all eyes might be on Pennsylvania like they were predicting before today.
I think there's a really strong chance of that. And we were talking earlier today about the pivot counties. There were 3 counties that in Pennsylvania that used to be Democratic counties that went for Obama before and flipped to Trump. And Luzerne County in particular, where we reported at polling places from earlier today, flipped from Obama to Trump, and by almost 20 percentage points in 2016, which is really, really scary. And today there were reportedly record numbers of people voting, so we'll see what happens. But it really, really could come down to Pennsylvania and specific counties even, which goes to show you that the Electoral College is completely ridiculous. It shouldn't come down to specific counties.
Right. And by the way, apologies to the historians. I was calling it Laverne County. It's Luzerne. That's where we are right now, by the way. So Luzerne, it was Luzerne County, Northampton, and Erie, which switched from Obama to Trump in 2016. And honestly, I got to tell you something, and I hate to trigger the wine moms. I hate to trigger the hashtag resistance. I hate to trigger all of them. And I might have egg on my face if Biden wins by a landslide, but right now it's not. I don't see a landslide, but I could be wrong. It should not even be this close. If you had a candidate with like an ounce of inspiration, an ounce of vision, one bold policy, just one, that, could kind of talk more coherently, he'd be crushing. He or she would be crushing. But we don't. They again ran a neoliberal corporatist without a message. Build Back Better is basically stronger together. And again, I might have egg on my face if Biden ends up pulling it out of North Carolina, pulling it out in Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, Michigan. But right now, it's pretty close. And I think if it were Bernie, frankly, I'm not a fan of him, but I think even if it were Pete, it would not be this close. I think that, when you continually run candidates that really don't have a message other than character and stronger together, and people could read and see who you're taking money from and your records, you end up getting close elections because that kind of neoliberal corporatism is kind of it helps elevate quasi-fascists, because if the quasi-fascists don't have a bold, really strong contrast in terms of an opposition, they tend to do better. So we'll see. I might be wrong, but we'll see.
Jordan, we have to move on to the topic that is really important tonight. The chat is freaking out now about your hands. Can you please reassure everyone that you now have a protocol?
What are they so worried about?
Your hands. They're very worried just about your hands. That you explained that they're dry and cracked. So please reassure them.
Can they see? It looks a lot better today than it did yesterday.
Why? Tell them that you are working on your...
First of all, if you want to be concerned about something, this is a code red. I have a severe constipation issue. I'm talking
okay,
constipation.
Gordon now has multiple things for his hands.
Constipation and indigestion. The indigestion is really, really bad. So I'm going to the gastroenterologist Friday if the election is over. If it's not, I'm going to have to reschedule. My wife won't be happy with me, but I have to reschedule if we're still here. But yeah, my hands, because I've been using so much hand sanitizer, it created just like white cracks. I thought I had eczema or something, but it's because of the sanitizer. So my wife has been moisturizing. By the way, I just got married, so feel free to leave a super chat for me and my wife. It goes to the company. It goes to the company. It goes to the company. But yeah, my hands are okay. It's not death or cancer. It's just cracked.
He's moisturizing them now. So we got working hands, and we got the Vermont Badger Balm for nighttime. So he's doing it multiple times per day and at night. He'll be okay.
So I got to tell you, North Carolina has me on pins and needles right now, with 84%. In North Carolina, Biden is up by 0.6, so a little over half a percentage point. Trump needs to win North Carolina. That's really, if he doesn't win North Carolina, it creates, if Trump doesn't win North Carolina, it creates a much, much smaller pathway for him and a much easier pathway for Biden. If Trump wins North Carolina with Florida that he's going to win, and Texas and Georgia, Pennsylvania becomes key. So we shall see what happens. We have a fan over here cheering. Huh?
Is that a drug tag over there?
Oh, I don't know. So we will see. I think the fact that it's close in North Carolina, I think the fact that it's seemingly closer in Ohio actually bodes well for Biden, because it really, the polls indicated that Trump was going to win Ohio. The polls were indicating that Trump had the edge in North Carolina. So the fact that it's closer indicates to me that Biden is pulling a lot of these suburban voters away from Trump. But it really doesn't matter if it's closer. Trump could win by, 0.4 percentage, whatever's above triggering a recount, and win. So, but the fact that it's closer in those states, I don't think it should be close in Florida. Biden should have crushed Trump in Florida, but, he didn't because he has no message. He should have crushed Trump in Michigan, Wisconsin, Pennsylvania. Remains to be seen. He might. We'll see. But it is much closer than we thought.
So in addition to, the presidential election, there are other elections going on. And I don't want to spend a lot of time on other stuff, but I think it's important to mention that the first open QAnon supporter has been elected to Congress. Marjorie Taylor Greene in Georgia. So that's what our country is. That's what our country has come to. She openly believes that Democrats are part of a Satanist cult that abuses children.
Oh, that's not good. That's not good. She won where?
I believe Georgia.
Oy vey. Oy vey. Thank you for the $25. Lana Del hates the clock. Jordan, please get some magnesium glycinate, higher end. Take 2 with water between supper and bed. Lots of water, more fiber, more walking. I'm screenshotting that. I will add that to my list. Thank you for the super chat and the good. By the way, if you join Status Quo as a member, you get access to our Discord. And in the Discord, we have several different channels of conversation. Politics, pop culture, a lot of different things. One of them is called Status Poo, exclusively for talk about my bowel movements. So that's worth the price of membership if you ask me. So sign up, statusquo.com/join. Anything else?
I would join if I were you. We have wonderful talks in there. We get to know each other, serious talks, funny talks. We share books and movies and so much. And that's just one of the things that we have. We also have behind-the-scenes reporting, behind-the-scenes photos, not just in the Discord, but in the membership area. You also get Ask Me Anything video calls with Jordan and myself. We're constantly adding new stuff. We're working on, it's in the idea stage right now, but a premium podcast, a lot of stuff in the works. Just $5 a month. We really want to aim for that 2,000 member level for right now. So help us out. The $5 really adds up. $5 a month. statusquo.com/join.
Jacqueline DeBlue, 20 pounds towards the Prunes Fund. Thank you, Jacqueline. Love you. I actually had 2 prunes before I came here. So we're thinking alike. By the way, I got to say, it's just bittersweet because I kind of look at this as like full circle for me. I've been going for 5 years. Obviously had a slight detour in between those, but I've been covering campaigns and all this. And I got to tell you, it's almost like we're kind of back to where we began. You know what I mean? Like Hillary versus Trump, which was such a disheartening choice if you're a progressive. Now this. And as a progressive, so many progressives, forced to really be on pins and needles, hoping for Joe Biden. It's just sad that that's what our politics has come to. With that said, I am a very cynical person. I don't want to give you false hope. But I do see some signs of hope, only because when you look at the protests that have gone on in this country for the last few months, mostly towards, racism, Black Lives Matter, the most important thing is we now see that there is the capability for mass mobilization. I think, I don't want to be the white guy telling, Black Lives Matter what to do, but I think if you add to that, those bodies on the street protesting, an economic component that actually goes after the plutocracy, that actually strikes, that actually withholds your money. There's been divestment campaigns on the environmental end towards banks, getting banks to pull their money off fossil fuel projects. If you really amp it up under a potential President Biden, that's the only way you get change. The politicians will give you some change if you force the hand of their donors, because the donors will then mandate that they do something. So I hope, everybody's tired, everybody needs a break, one crisis after the other, but I do believe progressives are not going to go back to sleep. And I think because of the economic pain that we're in, I mean, real unemployment. I just saw a story the other day. The real unemployment number is closer to 20 to 22%. That's a disaster. When you add in the fact that there has been no federal help since July, that unemployment, the extra $600, has been discontinued since July. I mean, whether it's Biden or Trump, you're looking at a world of pain, particularly with the holidays coming up. So we'll see what happens, but I'm not the most optimistic. What else is going on?
Just a lot of people in the chat giving you more poop advice.
Oh, good.
Yeah, just kind of general chatter going on. I think people are on edge and kind of looking for distractions. Honestly, not a lot of talk about the election.
Really?
In the chat, yeah. And no real updates. Trump is up to 98 electoral votes.
How about Biden?
Biden's at 131.
Okay, we'll see. And I think that the fact that Florida has basically remained at, Florida has remained at, it's been stuck at 93% for a while. Trump up by 3, so it looks like he's going to win Florida. North Carolina, again, Biden still up by half a point. Texas, Trump up by 2. Ohio, Trump has now taken the lead in Ohio by 2. Georgia, Trump up by 13. Trump up 18 in Michigan is really surprising. I would assume that's going to close pretty dramatically. If Trump wins Michigan, that's one hell of a polling error. Because all the polls in Michigan have been for Biden. But the fact that, I said this last week, but the fact that Biden and Obama went to Michigan, particularly Flint, and if you watched Obama in Flint, that was really a disgrace. Yeah. Him like, oh, you know something about environmental justice, considering I left you guys to die. Anyway, the fact that they went back to Michigan told me the internal numbers of that campaign must have been telling them it was closer in Michigan. So we'll see. Still plenty of time to go. And also, numbers could be deceiving because Trump could be up by, it says, almost 20 points in Michigan right now, but you still have mail-in ballots to count, which obviously he doesn't want them to count. We know that. But he could be up significantly in Michigan and other states right now, but that could be a little deceiving because the mail-in ballots have to come in then, which then brings in the possibility, if Trump is up significantly in Michigan, if Trump takes the lead in Pennsylvania tonight with all these mail-in ballots, the Supreme Court is 6-3. So We shall see.
Once again, chatter amongst the corporate media that they're admitting once again that Biden's strength was overestimated.
Are they?
In the Southeast.
Can you read the tweet to me, who it's from?
David Lauder, who is Washington bureau chief of the LA Times, pretty clear that polls overstated Biden's strength in the Southeast. The big question is whether that continues to be true as the count moves into PA, the Midwest, and the West.
So I want to make a declarative statement right now, because I'm going to tell you exactly what's going to happen if Biden loses. You're going to have people like my old boss, Jake Uger, saying, fuck the Democratic Party, we're taking over, blah, 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 blah. No. We, status quo, have been out in the field, in the trenches, working our tushies off, basically for three years, but more specifically this campaign, since December. And we were in the trenches saying, you guys don't know what you're talking about. CNN is full of shit. MSNBC is full of shit. The fact that you're saying Joe Biden is a safe choice, frankly, was absurd. The man, let's not even get into how he talks and all of that. The fact that somebody with the record that he has, frankly, Trump didn't hit him that hard on the actual record. NAFTA, TPP, crime bill. Trump was trying to make him into a socialist. That was not a good idea. Trump could have hit him a lot harder on other things. But the fact that they kept calling him the safest choice and gaslighting Democratic Party voters into thinking a guy who is basically still running like he's in the 1990s was the safest choice, when you have Bernie over here. He's got the youth. Bernie was crushing among Latinos. Not all black people, but in certain states, Bernie did fairly well among black people. And you're just being fed, no, Bernie can't win. You got to go with Uncle Joe. I mean, he's the safe choice, and blah, blah, blah. I'd be happy to have egg on my face in 2 hours if it turns around and Biden wins by a landslide. But what we're looking at right now is not a landslide. What we're looking at right now is a very, very close election. And even if Biden wins, a lot of these states he wins, he might only win by like what Trump won by in 2016, like very narrow margins. So this ain't a landslide. You could have had a stronger candidate if you wanted, but they wanted a candidate that would bring back the neoliberal corporate order. They wanted a candidate who would put the lobbyists, the consultants, and Neera Tanden back in the driver's seat. And it's a lot closer than it should be. Am I being dramatic?
No, you're absolutely not being dramatic. It's infuriating because we could have had someone that crushed Trump in a landslide. It should be very easy to beat Donald Trump. But here we are with Joe Biden, who today didn't just stutter, he didn't just make a gaffe. He said something completely incomprehensible, completely out of his mind, made no sense. He made 3 errors today about his own family, and still no one calls him out for it. But we knew, everyone knew, that he is in cognitive decline, and yet here we are. The corporatist Democrats pushed him, the mainstream media pushed him, and now he's the only choice. And now we're here on election night in an extremely close, nail-biting race where I'm literally standing here shaking with anxiety. Here we are. Thanks, Dems.
And just to be clear, I want to be fair to Biden. Trump being up right now in Pennsylvania, in Michigan, in a lot of these states could be deceiving, because you do have these mail-in ballots that, I mean, in Pennsylvania alone, there's 3 million mail-in ballots so far. In 2016, there were only 266,000 absentee ballots. So you have a huge, huge increase. So the fact that Trump is up right now in Pennsylvania by, Jesus, this glare is killing me, 6. He's up by 6 in Pennsylvania, but that's only 23% reporting. They got a lot of mail-in ballots, so this could very easily go to Biden. It just probably won't be today. Same thing in Michigan, but Trump is up in Michigan by 13 with 28% reporting. Trump is up a lot in Georgia with 50% reporting. He's up in Ohio by 3 with 70%. He's still up by 3 in Florida. So again, just because we're kind of venting here, it's Trump being up in Pennsylvania, Michigan is not a done deal by any means. You do have mail-in ballots, so we don't want to give you the false impression. With that said, again, why is it close? Why is it close? I understand Trump supporters think he walks on water, but the bottom line is, if Obama was the president and 230,000 people were dead, trust me, they wouldn't be giving him the benefit of the doubt. They wouldn't be saying, oh, he shut down the border to China. They would be crucifying him, calling for his impeachment, and frankly, rightly so. I mean, people were going to die no matter what. So that it's not all Trump's fault. But the bottom line is, we've been wildly unprepared. He's been pushing this as almost like it's rounded the corner, it's turned the corner. No, it hasn't. In Pennsylvania alone, you got 2,800 cases yesterday. All over the country, it's exploded. He's the president. And reports came out that he basically wanted to put it on the governors and then take credit if things turned around. If you're the president, the buck stops with you. And, you could be a corona truther, you could say it's not a real thing, whatever. At the end of the day, people aren't in the hospital dying of a sprained ankle. I had corona, okay? And, study after study, one guy at the rally yesterday, I mean, it was just too crazy, tells me it's really a Chinese cabal to hand the United States over to China. I mean, you can't take this stuff seriously. So, at the end of the day, with 230,000 people dead, a lot more to die, the economic pain, if you had a half-inspiring candidate to run against him, you'd probably win. But even though the media has been pushing Biden, frankly, the media wouldn't touch this Hunter Biden story. I think there's a there. I think Biden did not even deny that he met with this Burisma executive. Biden has not challenged the authenticity of the emails. I know a lot of people are like, Jordan, shut the fuck up, don't talk about this. Yeah, you can't be a journalist and just turn it on and off based on the election is close. You have to be consistent. And the fact is, if Biden never met with this Ukrainian if I never met with a foreign leader or a Burisma executive, and then a year later tried to get a prosecutor investigating the company fired, I would come out very strongly and say, I never met with this man. I don't know what you're talking about. Prove that I met with him. But Biden never did that. So we'll see.
So a quick announcement. Sarah Mcbride becomes the first transgender state senator with victory in Delaware. So that's exciting. Also,
and, on a somber note, I don't know what the numbers are yet, but according to the New York Times, Paula Jean Swearengin did lose her race in West Virginia. I don't know what the numbers are right now, so if somebody has them, send them to me. But we're big fans of Paula. We wanted her to win. It's very tough. In somewhere like West Virginia, it would be tough. But in non-pandemic times, when she would be able to knock on doors and run a normal campaign. But, you got to admire her if she lost. Running twice, really amazing working class person. She comes from a working class family, daughter of a coal miner. It's really tough to run twice and lose. But you got to, for people like Paula, that actual progressives that are in the fight and go for it, it sucks that she is not going to win. But we at Status Quo were definitely big fans.
Yeah, I did some work with Paula when I was on the writing team for Brand New Congress and Justice Dems, and she was always one of my favorite candidates. Just fantastic back when she was running against Manchin. She's a wonderful person. Levon Huey, $4.99 in the super chat. Thank you so much. Swirly Swirl, $5 in the super chat. We need to take away Obama's phone. I don't know, why is that? I guess I missed something. Thank you for the super chat, Swirly Swirl, as always.
And by the way, again, all ifs right now. But if Trump wins, that's like you're 0-2, Obama. Yeah. He went out there for Hillary. He basically cleared the field for Hillary. She lost. And if Biden loses, that's not good for Obama.
Yeah. Howard D, $5 in the super chat. Whoever wins, we lose. Tagline for Alien versus Predator. Yeah, that's true. So accurate today. And Chester Williams says, Jen, more super chats coming in. All right, bring it. Sounds good to me.
And just so you know, Trump's lead here in Pennsylvania has now gone up to 8 points.
Holy guacamole.
With 25% reporting. Again, that's 25% reporting. You got millions of mail-in ballots. They have said they don't think they're going to have them counted today. They're hopeful that by tomorrow they're not going to have them all counted, but they'll be able to give you an updated count of what the total results are based on mail-in ballots. And it's kind of fluctuated, but they did say they hope to have all the mail-in ballots counted by Thursday or Friday. But I got to tell you, we do live in the United Corporations of America. I have a hard time believing that if Trump leaves tonight with, let's say, a 6 to 7 point lead in Pennsylvania, that you're not going to have a tsunami of court challenges and legal challenges by Republicans in this state that will go to the Supreme Court. I don't know. I mean, if you want to put your hands, the future of the country in Amy Coney Barrett's hands, I got a bridge to sell you. Because I have a very hard time believing if the Supreme Court hears this again, because they left the door open to, they didn't say definitively, no, that's it, we're not. The 3-day extension in Pennsylvania to count these ballots for 3 days after the election, they did kind of leave the door open that they could revisit it after the election. And if Trump is up by, a decent amount in Pennsylvania at the end of the night, I really can't believe that the Supreme Court wouldn't hear this again. And I don't have a good feeling if the Supreme Court hears it again with the 6-3 Supreme Court. You got Kavanaugh, who was on Kavanaugh was on George W. Bush's legal team. You got, you got Kavanaugh, who was on Bush's legal team. You got John Roberts, who was on Bush's legal team. Coney Barrett was on Bush's legal team for the 2000 recount. So these are not people that have a history of wanting the ballots to be counted. They were trying to get the ballots to be stopped counting. So we'll see. Oh, the Popo are here. Exciting. Oh, did they get a call about that Trump guy? Oh, by the way, you missed it, but there was a really, really exuberant Trump guy wanting me to interview him. I told John no, because he wanted to push this voter fraud bullshit. But he was rah-rah over here. He was rah-rah when I was really taking it to Biden. But then when I started saying Trump was a disaster on coronavirus, you could tell he wasn't happy with that, and he walked away. So more like swayed away. Yes. So what do we got?
Okay, so we have, hold on. You have a good point, $4.99 in the super chat. Where in PA are you? Status quo. We're in the Northeast. Patrick Scarpati, $10 in the super chat. Thanks, guys. Stay warm. We're by a heater thing. It's gotten a little bit cooler. I don't know why, but it's been nice standing by that for sure.
I just saw this. Biden is up by 9 in Arizona, with 73% reporting. That's good if you're Biden. Trump won Arizona in 2016. So if Biden takes Arizona with Michigan and Wisconsin, then Biden probably will eke this out. Arizona was one of those states that if Biden could pick up some of the states from Trump, like Arizona, he would have a very, very narrow victory. So right now, with 73% in Arizona, Biden is up by 9. So we'll see if he keeps that lead, but that's a pretty healthy lead with almost 3/4 of the state completed. Trump's up by 13 in Georgia. He's up by 12 in Michigan. And he's up by 5 in Pennsylvania. Again, when you're looking at Michigan and Pennsylvania, keep in mind those mail-in ballots. So it's a little deceiving if Trump is up with the mail-in ballots expected to go to Biden.
Chester, I apologize for missing your super chat earlier. They disappear after a little bit if I don't get to them, and I didn't see it to screenshot. So Chester, thanks for the super chat. The 2020 election all comes down to Pennsylvania, Michigan, Wisconsin, and Ohio. What do you think about that assessment, Jordan?
Faint signals from Vega tells me, Jordan, Arizona's going to tighten up later. Don't pay attention to Arizona. Thank you. And that's actually interesting because some viewers who are in those states might have more insight than we do. Mm-hmm. So Anat, my wife, Jordan is trying to adjust it to keep it on. That's right. I don't want my wife to yell at me, so I keep it on. But let me tell you something. If somebody could invent a mask that prevents my snot from sucking up into my eyes, that would be wonderful. Yesterday at this Trump super spreader, I had so much snot, but I certainly didn't want to move that mask. If I would have taken the mask off for a second, God knows what would come in. So I kept the mask on, but I had a lot of snot. It was cold out. And right now, you get congested under this mask. It's not easy to talk for so long with a mask on, but we're doing our best.
So after that monologue about Jordan's snot, Ashura, $5 Canadian in the super chat. Biden loves to plagiarize the British because nobody really looks where he cheats. Build back better is Boris Johnson's slogan, the UK's Trump. Oh boy. Lana Dell hates the clock. $5 in the super chat. Iowa Biden up by 26. Oh,
Really?
You read that one? Oh.
No, I didn't see
15% counted so far.
Oh, it's not showing. It's not showing on the New York Times, Iowa. So that's a new one for me. Let me look at that. Yeah, well, let me tell you, if Biden were to win Arizona and/or Iowa, he's going to win the election because those are two states that went to Trump. If Biden picks them off, then he's going to win. I have a very hard time believing he's going to win Iowa, but we'll see. You got to remember, putting aside Trump's racism, Islamophobia, all this stuff, he has pissed off a lot of farmers. Iowa has been crushed by the tariffs, the trade wars, and now the pandemic. And Trump's stimulus for the farmers was completely not well executed, to put it lightly. Most of those farmers didn't get it. A lot of the money went to big family farms rather than smaller rural farm owners. So he might have lost a lot of people in Iowa because of this trade war. I am for, by the way, I am for putting an end to this free trade, which is not really free trade. But you got to do it in a smart way, not this, cockamamie, stream of consciousness trade war that he's decided to do. So.
The Finnish Observer asks, how worried are you, honestly, Jordan and Jen? I'm fucking worried.
I'm going to say something that people aren't going to like. And I know my wife's not going to like it, but I have to be honest. I just don't have it in me to be super excited about Joe Biden. I do want Biden to win, but if Biden wins, I'm not going to breathe a sigh of relief because I know what Biden is. I will be relieved that Trump is out, but I'm not I'm not super pulling for Biden. With that said, I am nervous a little bit because I think that if Biden were to lose, I think what we saw over the last 4 years, putting aside Trump, I think if you think the level of gaslighting with Russia was bad now, wait if Biden loses. We are going to see Russiagate times 10. They are not going to acknowledge that they lost because they had no message, because of policy. They're going to blame it on the post office. They're going to blame it on Russia. They're going to blame it on everything, and they might even blame it on Bernie, even though, frankly, Bernie has campaigned more than Biden has campaigned for Biden. But no, I'm a little nervous. I would like Trump to lose, but I can't lie that if Biden wins, I'm going to drop down and thank the lucky stars. That's just not the case. Wow, this party is cleared out.
The party is clearing out here. So we have some more super.
By the way, people were asking. We're in Luzerne County, northeastern part of the state, and they don't like when I announce where we are. We're in Luzerne County. This was a Democratic Party type shindig, but it has been clearing out quite steadily. So I guess we were the kind of life of the party.
We totally were. Jacqueline DeBlue, 20 pounds in the super chat. Poo, snot, and pus. Delightful, Jordan. I know, right? He's a true delight.
Well, Jacqueline, I love you across the pond. I do have a penchant for TMI. Some people don't like it. A lot of people do. But I just like to keep it real. We're out here in the trenches. We don't get a lot of sleep when we're on the road. I think the first time we ate today was 4 o'clock. So, yes, I do have a little bit of foot and mouth syndrome, but it comes from a good place.
Ashura, $2 Canadian. If I look like I'm crazy, it's because I looked into the light. Sorry, guys. Black farmers never saw a piece of that money. I don't know what money you're talking about, but yes, most likely.
Sorry to interrupt. Breaking news alert. The Democratic Party has maintained the House of Representatives. So another 2 years for Speaker Nancy Pelosi.
Yes, Queen.
And by the way, this is total speculation, but we did see a tweet earlier. I forget who penned it. Some New York Times, Ben Smith maybe, saying that there's
Ben YT.
Ben Smith of the New York Times, that there was some chatter that if Biden were to win the presidency, he might take Senator Kirsten Gillibrand, a New York senator, and put her in his cabinet, leaving a Senate position open, and they might try to push Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez in there, all so she doesn't primary Chuck Schumer. This, of course, is complete speculation, but Ben Smith did say he's hearing more chatter in New York that they might push AOC to replace Gillibrand if Biden does become the president and puts Gillibrand in his cabinet to avoid Chuck Schumer having to be challenged. Speaking of Chuck, shall we just say, Amy McGrath, I didn't look at it within the last hour, but last time I looked, she lost by like 25 points to Mitch McConnell. So, gee, what happens when you continue to run empty vessels with no message? Her message was actually that McConnell is blocking more of Trump's agenda from getting through, and she lost. It might be more now, but when I last looked, she lost by 25 points. I'm not saying Charles Booker was a guarantee to win, but it would have been a hell of a lot closer with Charles Booker. Mitch McConnell, there is really no endearing quality. He's corrupt. But when you continue, by the way, it's not only that she lost. I think they dumped like $72 million. Think about that. $72 million into this campaign that lost by double digits. I mean, that is just pathetic. Mitch McConnell is beatable, but when you continue to run these middle-of-the-road conservative Democrats, this is what you get.
I think we need to sign off.
Oh, are we getting kicked out? What? There you go. All right, so I think they're closing up shop here, and we're going to get kicked out. So let me tell you what's going to happen. We don't know what's going to happen. I think we said it earlier, the election could come down to Pennsylvania. Good thing we're here in Pennsylvania. We will, we just don't know. We might go live again later if there's something to go live about. Make sure you are on our text list so that you'll get a text when we're live. If the election is not over tonight, we'll certainly be here tomorrow and be covering whatever. We can't tell you what's going to happen because we don't know. There could be crowds outside the courthouse tomorrow if there's legal challenges. There could be protests. There could be certain counties that really are key to who wins. So we will be here. Definitely. We so appreciate your super chat, your GoFundMe. This is not cheap. Got to pay our cameraman. We have to eat. Colin, travel costs money, food, all that. So definitely, if you can, sign up as a member. Statuscoup.com/join for $5 a month. We really need to grow our membership. And if you're already a member, GoFundMe, super chat, any amount, big or small, we really appreciate it. As we, of course, humbly could say, we don't see a lot of other independent outlets out here in the trenches with the people. And we think it's important to be out here in the trenches with the people, even with, more establishment folk. Okay. So we'll stay out here, and we'll keep updating you in the Discord. We'll update you on our next steps and all that. Anything I'm missing?
No, just if you aren't a member yet, please go to statuscoup.com/join, just $5 a month. We're aiming to get up to 2,000 members as kind of a goal for right now. Right now, we're hovering around 1,700. So help us out and get some amazing premium content, including access to the Discord, which is like a really cool forum / Slacky type thing / chat roomy thing, where we're talking politics, election night, all that. Get in on it right now, statuscoup.com/join. Love you all. Stay happy. We're all in this weird, tense moment together.
We'll talk to you in a bit. Peace out.
Minnesota, which we were discussing a few moments ago, that's too early as well.
All right, let's go to Maine, which divides it's electoral votes by congressional district. We're calling that too early to call, but we did